Welcome to the John Grdina classroom, where transformation and inspiration come to life. I'm your host, John Grdina, bringing you over 20 years of experience as a coach, teacher, athletic director, and transformation coach. See, my journey is deeply rooted in the core values of my family, my faith, and freedom. See, here on this classroom, our mission is simply yet profound: to give you hope and renew your life, guiding you toward a fulfilled life. So join me each week as we explore powerful strategies, share uplifting stories, and embark on a journey of personal growth and transformation. Well, today's episode is all about shifting our mindset from consuming, owning, from scarcity to abundance, and from self-interest to generational impact. See, we'll dig into why owning stocks, crypto, and property isn't just smart, it's biblical. Plus, why building wealth isn't selfish when it's tied to serving others. So let's jump in. So, what really is the difference between ownership versus consumerism? So, let's go in Hello Story, which I always like to start off with. So, imagine two people. Person A spends every paycheck on the latest gadgets, fast fashion, and takeout. They look rich but have $0 in assets, while person B lives below their means, invests in stocks, crypto, and some rental properties, and their money is working for them. So who's truly free? It's obvious, right? Person B. Ownership creates leverage. See, stocks and crypto grow over time. Real estate builds equity. Consumer goods depreciate the second you buy them. But here's the kicker: God designed us to be stewards, not just shoppers. Think of the parable of the talents. This is from Matthew 25:14 through 30. I highly recommend reading the whole chapter. So again, Matthew 25:14 through 30. So a master entrusts servants with talents, which is money, and two invest and double their funds, and they're praised by the master. The third buries his talent out of fear. He says to his master, "I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you have not sown, and gathering where you have not scattered seed. And I was afraid, and I hid my talent in the ground. Look, you have what is yours." But his Lord answered, "You wicked and lazy servant, you knew that I reap where I have not sown, and gather where you have not scattered seed. So you ought to have deposited my money with the bankers, and at my coming I would have at least received back my own with interest." Verse 29 states it so clearly. "For to everyone who has, more will be given, and he will have abundance. But from him who does not have, even what he has will be taken away. Cast this unprofitable servant into the darkness. There will be weeping and gnashing and teeth." So what's the lesson? God rewards faithful stewardship. Hoarding or wasting resources is not the plan. See, this story is to remind us not only of the financial things that we should do to compound interest, to serve more resources, but also with our talents. Think of today one thing that you are just burying in the ground of a talent you have. And you may say to yourself, "Well, I don't have any talents." That's a lie, number one. So, what is the talent that you have that you do or have done in the past where you lose track of time, you enjoy what you're doing, and you're not using that talent right now? So, I'm challenging you. Think about it, reflect on it, and start acting on it right now. Don't let up. Don't let your talents go to the grave. Be another person who didn't use your time and talents wisely. All right, part two: providing for your family. So biblical, right? So if we think about it, let's go back to the Bible in Proverbs 13:22. A good person leaves inheritance for their children and their children's children. So let's unpack that a little bit. Investing is not about you. It's about breaking the cycles of lack. Imagine this, your grandkids starting life debt-free because you bought land decades ago. Your family having a safety net if a crisis hits. But there's an even deeper layer. True freedom means you're not enslaved to debt or a paycheck. When you're financially secure, you can focus on purpose, like mentoring others, funding scholarships, or donating to a cause that you love. Seeing the real thing along my journey, and I've spoke about this recently in my podcast, is like when my father-in-law had his second stroke, it just magnified everything because when I talked to my mother-in-law, Sherry, she was talking about how they didn't do what they should have done earlier in their life, is not wait till retirement and save all this money and then go travel. Should have done it earlier. She told me if you could accumulate wealth early, go enjoy life with your family as soon as you can. So I'm teaching you lessons that I am being given wisdom to from a real situation in my life. And I'm not going to wait till my 60s to start being an adventurer with my family, an entrepreneur to help serve more people, to give to my church more. Those of you who go to church, what's the one thing that you're bound to do or supposed to do? Tithe, right? You're supposed to tithe. And my whole life, I've always felt in my heart that I always want to give more. And I feel like I can't, right? Because you're in debt or stressed out because you don't have enough money. So how awesome would it be that you're sitting in church and you're like, you know what? I could give more than I could ever imagine. I could serve my community more than I ever could imagine. I could be that blessing to a family or families that need true love and support at that time. So I challenge you to start thinking about wealth in a different mindset of a way to have that freedom for not only your family, but for your community. So I had a friend named Sarah who she used her stock dividends to fund a clean water project in Africa. And she had these assets not only to bless her family, but it blessed hundreds of people in that community because of what she did and the ownership that she took to truly help a small community in Africa. And it was all based off her assets that she had gained from her stock dividends. So like when I hear these stories and I think to myself, like, why not you? Why not me? Why not all of us? See, God, and I'm going to get to this in a very few minutes. God wants you to live in abundance. He doesn't want your eyes to be on money is the only thing. He wants your eyes to be on the prize, which is Jesus Christ. And first seek the kingdom first. So you have to establish that relationship with him, with your almighty Father. You have to. That's the first thing. Get in the Word. You guys, I'm like beating the drums. Get in the Word. Build that relationship. And just let God work. It's never a perfect process, but if you are in the process and taking action, then God's going to reveal things to you for your mission. And it may not be the entrepreneur. It may not be that one who gains large amounts of wealth. But I will tell you this. There's no better thing than when your family asks for money or asks for help or support or your community, and you could go do that. And there's other ways besides money or resources, but your time. Like how much of us are actually going out in our time and serving instead of consuming, right? Let's take some ownership. And that's what this podcast is about. Let's take ownership, not just stocks and crypto. And that's very important along this journey, like I said, but let's take ownership and our responsibility to our family and our community and our loved ones. So part 3 is, again, serving others through generosity. So here's the truth. See, I just mentioned wealth isn't evil. Love of wealth is. That's from 1 Timothy 6:10. See, when you build wisely, you get to be a river, not a reservoir. Let me say that one more time. When you build wealth wisely, you get to be a river of blessing, not a reservoir of lack. See, when Warren Buffett is still living, he said that he spends almost 100% of his money maybe not, obviously not 100%, because he knew that he wanted to give to his kids enough to do anything, but not enough to do nothing. And he knew it was very valuable to be a donor, one who chooses to give based on the assets he had. So we got to start thinking about how we can be better owners of our money and stewards of our faith to give and to mentor and to be just an individual who creates jobs for others as well. That could be a possibility for you. So that's fulfillment. You're not just leaving a will, you're leaving a legacy. And the more that we become owners of our mission in life, the more that we could truly go out and serve people to the fullest of our capacity for the kingdom. So let me get practical here for a second, okay? Let's talk about strategies for consuming knowledge to build wealth. Well, the number one thing I learned lately of reading books is learners are earners. So read a book like The Richest Man of Babylon. It's literally based off the Proverbs, okay? So start small, like even $50 a month in an ETF or in crypto or in a stock could help. Lastly, give, like tithe, donate, volunteer your time. It keeps your heart aligned to your mission. So taking ownership of what you're supposed to do for God in his kingdom at a large level, not a small level, a large level. See, family ownership isn't about greed. It's about freedom to live boldly and love radically. See, let's be the generation that builds and gives and leaves the world better than we found it. See, this is an opportunity that God has provided for this transfer of wealth right now in this time of history, from the wicked to the righteous, for his will. So let's seek wisdom every single day. Let's have wisdom to go out and ask God to be delivered resources and goods to help bring his kingdom here on earth. So this week, I want you to do something. This is a call to action. Just DM me on YouTube or any social media site, and I'm going to send you something to help get you in the frame of mind of being an owner and not a consumer. So let's finish the podcast today with a little letter from Paul. So he says, command those who are rich in the present world not to be arrogant or to put their hope in wealth, but to put their hope in God. So God, who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment, command them to do good, to be rich in good deeds, and to be generous and willing to share. That was a letter from Paul to 1 Timothy 6:17 through 18. See, if we listen to the wise, which Paul was definitely a wise man, the man who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment, command them to do good, to be rich in good deeds, and to be generous and willing to share. That's really what it's all about. Everything that's out there on the earth, God has created. Everything. So what are we doing with those resources? Are we consuming them? Are we just going to the store and buy? Or are we taking ownership in ways to compound our wealth, not only for our family, but for those who truly need it? It's just a time to reflect. I truly appreciate your time. I'm learning just as much as you are every week, and I hope that my knowledge and wisdom that I've gained, first and foremost from God, second from books, is helping you along your journey as well. Hey, I love you guys. Thanks for listening. God bless.